Hello guys, it's me again. I want to show you how natural coffee, specialty natural coffee works. So the first thing is once you receive the cherry, the cherry comes with a lot of matters and some unripe or overripe cherries are going to be here. Also some seeds and other contaminants are going to be among the cherry. So the first thing that we do is to float the cherry. That means that all the cherry that is dense is gonna go to the bottom of this channel that is specially made for cherry, for natural. But you can see here everything is very red, and the workers are moving it around, so everything that floats disattach and gets and it start to move all over the channel until it gets to this gate. This gate is only allowing the things that float to go over it. And as you can see, all the things that float are very dark and ugly. You don't want that in the coffee because this is a high quality coffee. So this is a process that is using now a lot of water. One of the main characteristics of natural is that they don't require much water. Actually, all this water is going to be recycled. It's going to be recirculated. It was still very clean. It was just used for floating this bad cherry over here. You see, as you can see, this part of the channel is just waste. And this part of the channel, we had beautiful coffee. Usually, naturals are considered low-grade coffee, but not being disposed. Most naturals in the world are low-grade coffees. Robustas that represent 40% of the market are almost entirely processed in the natural way, but not these shares. This is only exclusive for specialty naturals. The other are Brazilian naturals that are also very low-grade coffee, not produced in this manner. Those are naturals. So when people say that naturals are bad, they're actually correct. They're talking about those Brazilian naturals and those Robustas that are very low-grade. But in this case, this is a specialty grade naturals. In this grade, the coffee is being tampered carefully. You can see now they're getting rid of the cherry, the bad cherry that is on top. They're getting rid of the naturals processed this way. I believe they are only 1% of the natural. So when people say that the naturals are bad, they're actually correct. Because 99% of all coffee, all Arabica coffee is processed by using the natural method. They are very low-grade coffees. Also, natural coffee is the coffee that you just put under the sun and that's it. So it's a method that very poor farmers choose in order to process their coffee, and the results are not great. But in this case, we're going to have this coffee processed in the best way possible. The first part of how to make naturals is to float them, to remove all the pollution and all the debris, all the overripe and everything that is bad. So we ended up with high density cherry, and once we have all the density cherry separated, we put it in this table. In this table, the coffee is gonna drain all the excess of water, and also all these workers, what they're doing, are trying to sort unripe, overripe, and everything they see wrong with the cherry. As you can see, we have very high quality cherry, and they're making it even better. So everything that has kind of a green
or a black, like for example, this one here, everything like this. You see, that are kind of overripe. They're gonna be removing it. So once the coffee is sorted, it's gonna be placed in that table over there. That table over there is a little different and it's covered with a plastic sheet. So the idea is that once the coffee is all sorted, it's gonna be placed on top of this plastic and then very carefully flattened all the way up to the table and then covered, and the coffee is going to be macerating for a few days. Once it's macerating, the coffee is going to be covered with a black tent like this one. This tent, what it does, it allows the air to flow through, and also it will try to avoid the UV light from the sun to touch it. UV light is very bad for yeast that grows in the coffee, and we need that in order to add an extra dimension of flavor. So we don't want the yeast to be killed. Another thing that UV light is responsible for is to create some sort of reaction with citric acid that is, in some instances, it preserves the coffee, but in others, kind of create differences in pH. So it's a good thing to keep it covered. You will see that all over the world, like for example under that roof over there is where wash coffee is fermented and also is covered. Fermentation and UV light are not good friends. So here we're preparing high quality naturals that we expect to taste great. Even good quality naturals are sometimes not that great because this coffee is really hard to produce. You need the weather to be in your favor. As you can see, we're going to be drying full cherries. They're full of water, and this takes up to 22 days in order to dry completely, and that's a very long time. And during that time, the coffee can get covered with molds, covered with bacteria that could affect the flavor and the end result. So the weather needs to be dry and cool, so you can have good results. This coffee is not very popular, those reasons. So people just stay with doing a wash coffee instead. That is a lot easier to produce. This coffee can taste over fermented or funky very easily. So only good naturals could taste well. Usually the best coffees that win the best of Panama are naturals, and the best coffees in Ethiopia are naturals. So once you have it tuned very well, you can take the coffee to its full potential by doing naturals. In particular, personally, I don't like most of the specialty naturals that are sold in the world, or the ones that I have tried, because even the good ones, especially the ones in Brazil and Central America, where the conditions are a lot more humid and difficult, they tend to taste funky. That's my personal opinion. The weather is key in order to have a good taste. Hello guys, it's me again. I just want to show you how the natural and the sun-dried coffee looks after the maceration period is over. So as you remember, we clean them and we place them on the table with that tent. So initially it will be covered with a sheet of plastic and then cover it with that tent that will allow the air to go through. So once the maceration time is over, in this case is 3 days, you will see that the cherries have changed color. There is a strong smell, flowers and plums, peach, raisin. It's very strong. It's very complex. So once the maceration time is over, or the maceration period is over, the coffee is ready to move to the drying tables. So this coffee is being prepared to move to the drying tables. The drying period is long. It's going to be close to a month. So it takes a long time to have an idea of how the coffee is going to taste. But everything is going pretty well. As you can see, there are no traces of molds or dirt or insects or anything on the coffee. So it looks like everything is going to be perfectly fine. Hello guys, Marcelo here. Just want to show you how the naturals have evolved. You remember we had very fresh cherry, and after 5 days, the cherry has become black. So one of the most difficult parts of making good naturals is managing space. So when we started, we placed around 30 kgs of cherry per square meter. So now the cherries have lost around half their weight and stuff. So in order to make good use and a smart use of space, these tables should shrink and should keep the same density for the entire drying period. And also we can accommodate more space for the incoming coffee. So in order to have a great tasting naturals, having good management of space is key. If you keep the layers too thick, the coffee is going to over ferment and it's going to taste funky. And if you have the layers too thin, the coffee could dry too fast and the final flavor will be flat. So you need to manage it like everything else. From here, there is a beautiful view of the factory, the processing unit, the washing station, however you want to call it. And here you can see the naturals that we have been preparing. It's the beginning of the season, so we focus on sun-dried naturals before we get to a point where there is too much coffee and we cannot focus or assure the quality of the naturals that we're processing. So usually sun-dried naturals are processed at the beginning of the season and at the end. In the middle, we only do wash coffee. Okay, this is all for now, and I see you in the next one.